All right, I will call the meeting to order. First order of business is the minutes from the last two meetings. We'll start with February 20th. I had a few changes. And I have these all written down. Perfect. So that,
Okay.
All right. On line 43, Brad Gates, who I never met before, is Bradgate, Bradgate. That's the name of the development corporation that was.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. On line 51, the
Intent.
intent.
Yeah.
It's intent to purchase, not attempt. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, same difference.
Okay, on line 77.
Oh, I had that too. Good.
All right, let's start at the end of line 76. And I have this again, I have this all written out, so, but I wanted to say approximately half of Campus World land is in current use, period.
Mhm.
No parentheses and comments, no and no the remaining land. And then I wanted to say the total parcel is taxed at a very low rate, approximately $3,000 to $4,000 annually. Because current use land technically is taxed.
Right. Just at a very low rate.
It's okay. And then I have
It's the same thing I have on there.
one more. On 211,
Can you back up to 121?
sure, go ahead.
Would not be a bond bank loan. How about that locks us into definitely not. Would likely be a bank loan, local bank loan. Probably not. A bond bank loan, because if we did, would not, it locks us into it.
We discussed would most likely be a local bank loan.
We could just cross that.
Just cross out the parentheses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then that also affects the last parentheses on that paragraph.
121 cross out what's in the parentheses.
And 123, cross out what's in the parentheses,
Well, actually, that makes sense at the end.
leave that one there.
Yeah, because it explains that you can't do that with the bond bank.
Okay, then we'll leave that, okay. I just don't like anything that must and will, because
Yeah,
we're
right.
not there yet. Okay, go ahead.
That's all I had.
Okay. So you
Anything
were
else?
going to a 200 something.
Yeah.
When I backed you up.
Yeah, you said
To
2,
11.
Oh, guess I didn't
Two.
finish that.
No,
211.
211.
Yeah.
okay,
I just want to cross off much higher and write better,
there we go.
because
We don't know.
Right,
yes, I don't know. I know it was a better offer.
Right.
I don't know if it was $1 better. I mean, I know it wasn't.
Right.
But I don't really know what the exact,
gotcha.
and that's it.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes of,
Wait, did you have anything?
oh, sorry,
Oh, okay.
February 20 as amended.
Oh, did you take that?
Please.
Just throw it on the floor, okay?
I'll get it, I'll get it.
No, make him go under the table.
Make it work.
Absolutely.
All right, we motion a second, all those in favor?
Aye. Please. Non-public from the 20th, or was that the 21st? Hang on, let me find the non-public meeting minutes. No, this is the next one, sorry.
From the 26th.
I can make a motion on those?
Oh,
No, wait, the non-public?
yeah, no, we'll go.
Oh,
for
okay,
that.
next
Wait,
week.
All right, you can sign that. February 26th, I had one change. On line 14. Cross out usually. And after share. Insert individual town. So the sentence will read, OJ explained that most hotels do not willingly provide this information. And the state does not share individual town information regarding the rooms and meals tax.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's, the rooms and meals tax is public
There,
information,
right.
anybody can get
But
it,
it's not individually.
but it's not by town, it's by,
Delineated, right.
I believe it's by county. That
Good catch.
they share it.
Okay.
I'll make a motion. Do you have anything,
I
Jack?
don't know.
Oh,
I'll make a motion to approve the February 26th meeting minutes as amended.
And that one changes on that, sorry. Motion, did you second?
Yes,
Second, all those in favor?
And I will make a motion to accept the January 26th non-public meeting minutes as presented.
so moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, next on the agenda is the treasurer's treasurer's deposit delegation. And that is in that pile of stuff that I pursuant to the provisions of RSA 4129-2, the town treasurer has the responsibility to deposit all such monies received by the town of Lincoln in appropriate financial institutions as outlined in the statute. The RSA allows the treasurer to delegate deposit or other financial functions to other town officials or employees, provided such delegation is in writing and includes written procedure acceptable to the Board of Selectmen. Such delegation may only be to a town official or employee bonded in accordance with RSA 41-6. The Lincoln Town Treasurer hereby delegates deposit function authority to the Lincoln Town Clerk and/or the tax collector and the respective deputy of the funds collected in the role. These deposits shall be made on a weekly basis or daily whenever the receipts total $1,500 or more. In making these deposits, the Lincoln Town Clerk and/or tax collector and their respective deputy shall provide the Lincoln Town Treasurer with the deposit slip from the town's general fund financial institution, in addition to a detailed backup report documenting the receipt of monies comprising the deposit made. This authority shall remain in effect until rescinded by written notice of the Lincoln Town Treasurer. And that has been signed already by Janet Peltier, the town treasurer. And I'll make a motion that the board delegate the town clerk, tax collector, and their deputies.
This is a standard operating procedure.
I'll second.
This
Yeah.
essentially allows them to physically
Allows
hit
them
the
to do
deposit
deposits.
right to the bank.
Right, and the town clerk has had that, right? To make the deposit?
I don't know,
Huh.
to be honest. I don't know that they might have, or maybe it was done when it was a joint position, and now that it's not a joint position anymore, we have to individually give them
Okay.
delegation, so I think that's actually.
Oh,
what
I
happened.
started doing this before.
I think so.
Yeah.
But it was when the town clerk and tax.
It's a combined position.
Okay, all right. So
I seconded.
motion second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And you've
Let's
got
do the yield.
this. You didn't do that page. Holy, windy.
I know.
Tomorrow's supposed to be windy as well, yeah,
Is it?
Yeah, I don't think as bad, but it's still supposed to be pretty
Yeah.
windy.
but warmer and sunny. Which will help.
Yes.
We have a yield tax certification for some lumber that's being cut up at South Peak in the amount of $397.27. We don't need to vote on that,
No,
just sign it.
Sign it.
That's
And
the
here's the last
question.
thing that needed to be signed.
And this relates to the property that was previously sold in the business park, accepting the new, well, I should say revised
Deed restrictions.
deed restrictions related to no self-storage. And that doesn't need a vote. Had public hearings, votes, and everything else on that, so we just signed it. All right, I don't know if you guys saw, but we just received the 2024 New Hampshire Hazard Mitigation Plan update. I guess this was approved by the state and it's all in force and
Ready to go.
Ready
We
to go.
will get reimbursed for our final $300.
There we go.
Still outstanding.
all right, next on the agenda is the Vermont, a proposal from Vermont Rail for the use of Recycle Road. I will kind of give a brief update on this. I think I just put this at a prior meeting, though, right? That
We
met-
talked, we
Yeah.
touched on it at a prior meeting,
Shouldn't be a
yes.
surprise, but we met with, I should say we, Karina and I met with a representative from NCIC and two representatives from Vermont Rail. And it was really a learning experience for me. There is a shortage of logs in this area. There are multiple wood businesses that are being slowed down because of the lack of supply of logs.
Interesting.
Yeah. What they are proposing to do, they would like to use their piece of land along the railroad tracks, sort of behind so-called J&J Plaza. And the town's riverfront park property. They want to use their land there for a loading and unloading station, so they can take logs off of a railroad car and load them onto trucks to deliver them to local businesses that need them. Local being the White Mountains, not Lincoln Woodstock.
Sure.
So that they would come in by rail and leave by truck, and that would be the transfer spot. Potentially, they said that there might be some further use of this, but in the current,
Start, yeah.
in the current economy, this is the need they're trying to fulfill. Bring logs in by train, ship them out
Gotcha.
by truck. There's woodworkers, there's other,
So are they talking the south side of the tracks or the north side of the tracks?
south side.
So access would be through Gene's Playhouse,
Would be recycle road.
Access,
would be
they
recycled
would
road.
come in.
Yeah.
Typically,
what
they
they're
would
proposing.
get off the interstate. They would come, a short ways down, like from McDonald's to the recycle road, would go in recycle road. Would go down behind the transfer station, just like we all do. But then instead of wrapping up around, they would kind of go over the area where brush is stored. Loop up behind the area where metals and appliances are stored. And then up onto their land. So it would take some site work on the recycling property. It would remain a gravel road. They're not looking to do anything with asphalt.
What about our asphalt?
They would be driving over that asphalt. Some of the questions they ask is there a
We just,
load limit, weight limit on that road, or is it built to higher standards? Which I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know the answer to that either.
But I know that big heavy trucks go in there, because that's what we get.
yeah, I was gonna say, they get big trucks in there all the
Load-
time.
Yeah,
Load
our
with
waste
those
management
containers.
trucks go in,
Right.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
so.
However, waste management trucks weigh a whole heck of a lot less than a fully loaded log truck. And we just put a bunch of taxpayer dollars from both towns into that road. So there needs to be something there that if they do this for 2 years and the road turns to a mess. Something, I mean, that's not fair to the taxpayers, either it's not.
Absolutely.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
So some of the details of this
And
are
I
on
threw
this.
2 years out here, I don't know what.
Yeah, no, but some sort of
Tax.
road maintenance agreement,
Yeah.
something along those lines, yeah.
For both the asphalt portion and the gravel portion that will be new. Because some of that gravel portion will be shared,
Mhm.
with people going to dump.
Right,
So just some of the, details of this. These logs would come in a 5 train car block. Each train car carrying approximately 2.5 truckloads of material. For a total need of 12.5 trucks for each load that comes in.
you say twice a week?
Well, cars would show up in Lincoln twice a month,
Oh, gotcha,
and product would have to be removed from the cars in 48 hours. So twice a month, there'd be 2 days where there'd be 6 or 7 trucks a day in and out of that facility. Trucks would enter the facility on Recycle Road, loop around the building, then enter the rail yard in the northwest corner of the property where the masonry dump area is. Trucks would park parallel with the trains and the train tracks and load directly from the train car to the truck. Trucks would then exit the rail yard on the upper side of the facility and out Recycle Road. So they'd drive along their property on the tracks until it merged with Recycle Road, and then they'd go up by McDonald's. So that's what their proposal is. I mean, in my opinion, before we even discuss, I'd like to get Nate and John involved in this. Okay, what they're there every day. What are the problems that this is going to cause? What are the solutions to those? What are the cost, if any, for the solutions? And then let's look at a complete set of facts relating to this.
Yes, I did give Nate a heads up on this,
Okay.
and he
When
didn't have anything that was glaring red,
Yeah.
red flags, alarms, but I did say, we'll bring you into the conversation.
When
as
is
it
the
develops.
goal for their start date? Any idea?
Don't
Like they want to do
really,
this immediately, or are they looking for next September?
no, I think it's an accelerated
I
timeline.
think they're ready to start,
As soon as
but
possible.
they're not here banging on our door.
Right.
Gotcha.
Okay, like
Yeah,
they're ready.
he's been in constant communication with me since we met last
Okay.
week, right, so, yeah.
Yeah, I have a number of concerns. I mean, some of them like Tammy, the road getting beat up. By that many trucks, at the same time. Also, if you look at the stationery, I don't see a company name on it. I mean, how long have they been in business? Are they legitimate? Are they insured? Let's say they hit some,
Well, this is a printed email.
It's just an email.
Yeah, that's just a pretty,
Yeah.
this is Vermont rail system, they're a,
Oh,
they
they're,
mention Vermont Rail, but they don't mention a company name.
Well, it's an email, that's why.
Well,
okay, but
VRS.
when they met with us in person,
yes.
they brought calendars and
okay,
business cards.
Oh, yeah, this is Vermont rail
If you
system,
look at
they're
this-
federal,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
They said,
This has their name
oh, yeah,
on
it
it.
does. But they brought us, there was something, I forget where it was, that showed like how many, where their lines are,
Mhm.
how many miles of rail they had. They brought up some stuff. I
Yeah.
should have brought it, they brought it, like I said, a calendar.
Wait, so you got swag and we didn't get it? I don't even know the calendar.
remember that term, Wayne Payola,
Yeah, you can have my calendar. It's
free calendars, the books,
Okay.
date books, things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, this is a major outfit, they're
Oh,
not
yeah,
just some
No, it's not a
local
fly-by-night.
independent company, it's Vermont Trail System, Vermont
So-
Transit, it's,
Vermont
they're,
Rail,
yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I think that as long as it doesn't impede our business.
Sure.
I mean, we can't have, our folks waiting to get in line because they're behind log trucks or what have you.
Right,
Either entering or exiting. I know that would be a concern for some. Certainly, the maintenance of the road. Like
That's my
Tammy said, we
concern.
just spent some decent dough on it, so, we want to make sure it maintains that. We don't have to come up, either a bond or a letter of credit might be something that they would be willing, if they're that large a company, it would be no big
right,
deal.
some kind of agreement.
Something along that line. And any modifications that have to be made to the property, that accesses their right of way. Would have to be something that we can live with after the fact. Let's say that they're gone in 5 years.
right,
Is it something that we're gonna have to redo?
right.
Or is it an attractive nuisance for kids? You know what I'm saying, so. Just a lot of concerns, unanswered questions at this point in time.
My major concern is the roads.
Yeah.
Twice a month is, in my opinion, 4 days a month is not gonna be this giant, huge. pain in the
It's
butt
not gonna be a
anyway.
day in, it's not gonna be a
Exactly.
7-day
Not a
week
day,
operation, right,
So,
5-day week
that part of
operation.
it doesn't bother me too much, but the roads are a concern
Right.
for me.
Well, and they definitely said, we had mentioned that they're closed on Wednesdays. Wednesday would be a great day for them to
Absolutely.
have a lot of this, activity that needs to
Do as
happen,
much as
whether
they
it's.
can on Wednesday.
Right, and they said that they'd be willing to work with us in those,
Fantastic.
with those parameters,
Yeah, but would we have to have personnel on site?
no,
Well, who's gonna, that door, there's a gate across that door.
They can open it.
Well, Are we gonna allow somebody else access to our property without a personnel being there? I don't know about that.
I have no problem with that, if they're
I
just
do.
driving around to load a log.
I do.
Let's
Yeah, I mean, those things I think could be ironed out.
work out the
Yeah,
details.
Yeah.
First, I wanna find out, what are the things here that John and Nate see
what are our, yeah,
would interrupt, you know? Do we need to move or change where brush is dropped off? Cause with it drawing, you know, the proposed line, kind of makes sense to me, but I know that when we get, you know, how they start with brush way down the back, not brush,
So that's,
stump, no,
Oh,
stumps, no,
stumps,
the grinding stuff.
mhm,
You know, not leaves, but brush.
yeah,
That comes out quite a ways before we actually get the grinder in there and then get rid of it all. And then it starts over again.
so Timmy, just let me go back to what you said, and I will disagree, Mino, on that issue. If I'm the trucker, I'm opening the gate to go in and Jack Daly comes behind me. Oh, he's, you know, I'm a local renter or something. I didn't know the dump was closed. I pull my car in. He or she or they have an accident. Who's responsible? We are. So, you know, I wouldn't feel comfortable allowing somebody on our property without a staff employee present. Whether they
Valid
pay them or
concern.
something, you see what I'm saying?
Yep, yep.
Valid concern.
Yep.
Maybe they are charged with the
Staffing,
gate attendant,
They could have a detail, they could pay,
Yeah.
just like we pay for
or
police.
whatever,
They
yeah.
could pay an employee that wanted to earn a few extra bucks overtime.
yeah, they actually like the fact that it's gated, because it offers somewhat protection for them when the cars sit there, if the cars have to sit there overnight. Because they have 48 hours, they actually liked that aspect of it, so I'm sure they'd be willing to work with us as far as access to.
And the hours of operation, obviously, when we're.
Yeah, I mean, it would be ideal if they could get the trucks out on Wednesdays, you know, 2 Wednesdays a month.
That
just
would be
so, you know, we could have the least amount of disturbance going on down there.
all right, so this would be a subject for our next
Sure.
term, you know, that we could work on, but again, let's get. Nate and John to weigh in on that.
Okay.
All right, next on the agenda is the Old Hole parking easement. I think I forwarded an email that we got from the New Hampshire Electric Co-op. Kind of saying that the first step in this would be for us to hire an engineer to look at a way to protect their underground buried pipe from being underneath a parking lot. It was not designed to that, it's just under grass right now. But if we're gonna park on it, driving over their underground conduit is a problem.
I didn't get an email about that.
Did I not forward that? Or did you forward that to me? You didn't forward
I
that
didn't forward it to you, you forwarded it to me.
to you?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's,
all right, so their request is that if we want to move forward with that parking on that site with the easement to underground between the concrete vault that's on their land and the concrete vault that's on the land where our easement is.
Mhm.
Underground between those two, I assume in a straight line, is an underground buried.
I just sent it to both of you.
I
Thank
did.
you.
Oh, you just did?
Yeah.
There's an underground electric cable. And they were saying that if we wanted to use that for parking, well, actually, it all started because we wanted to get the easement, to
Right.
talk about walking across their property. And they would be amenable to looking at plans where the walkway went in front of the gated area. A fenced in area, I should say, between the fenced in area and Main Street. Go in front of it and then around the side and then join onto the
get
existing.
over this way and back that way.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Get over this way and back that way.
Well, it is, but instead of going behind it, we're going in front of it and around.
Sure.
We're still gonna meet up at the same point we want and take the
Right, right.
existing.
No,
site.
what I'd like to see is a visual of what they're proposing.
Well, it's us that's
We're
proposing.
gonna have to
What we're
propose.
proposing is the way that we want to go with it. Just, I mean, just a sketch, just to walk it, check it, see, you know.
Well, the co-op wants a engineered stamped plan.
Original,
Yeah.
I mean,
For
Fine,
the burying of the pipe, or not the burying, the
The-
casing of the pipe that's
Right.
already buried. To park on. As part of any easement that they would give us to cross their land with pedestrian traffic. Because right now we have a easement that allows us to park on that land, but. NHEC has an easement, they have a buried pipe on that land that we can't crush. So that'd be the first step. I don't see any rush in doing this. This is nothing, we don't need this summer. We don't need this immediately. But it's something that I think should just keep ticking at and get done.
Do we want to reach out to NHEC? You know, this is the comment I made to OJ on the email, is that, obviously, we don't know where the location of the pipe is. They tell us it runs along here, but we don't really know where it is. We don't know how deep it is. We don't know how wide it is. Would it behoove us to have maybe Ray Corber or someone reach out to see if they had a plan that they could share with us, so then we could develop our plan? I mean, we can't really develop a plan on how we're going to stabilize this pipe if we don't know where it is and how long it is and how deep it is. Right.
They have-
They do.
Good call. It could be something that could easily be stabilized and then everything else is a new point, but
Well,
we don't know.
We don't know.
The engineer
That
from
was on site,
NHC
yeah.
who was on site, one of them seemed like very concerned, like, oh,
Yeah.
and then the other guy says, oh, two guys out here with, a shovel and dig this up and you're gonna pour concrete in it and it's up, like it was nothing, like easily solvable problem.
But they were, but one on either end of the
Either end of the
spectrum.
spectrum. Because you gotta be careful when you dig, which I granted, I mean, that's gotta be high voltage, but either way.
I'll let you do.
I think, well, no, my thought is. If we're gonna ask Ray Corber to do this, or ask Ray Corber
To look at the,
to who should be
Who
doing
we
it.
should be
I mean,
doing
This might not be in his wheelhouse.
Sure, right.
well, I mean, just to look at the plan, I mean, could be.
Yeah, I think the initial step is to
Yeah,
get,
but-
to get a plan from NHC.
And I think the engineer should ask that, because then they can ask the questions that they need to know.
I agree.
We're gonna say, how deep is it? And if they say 2 inches or 12 feet.
We're gonna say, great.
Is that good?
Right, right.
What,
Yeah.
let
The
them, let them,
other thing too, since this has to do with recreation, maybe we could look, any grants coming out that might cover the cost associated with it.
I was looking up actually grants and there is river access grants
Mhm.
available.
really?
Yeah,
Mhm.
So,
because I was looking for more riverfront park stuff to see if there's any way we could. And there are recreational river access grants out there, so we might.
yeah, we'll take a look at it, doesn't
Yeah.
hurt. But first step would be, in my opinion, to ask
think it's just
NHEC
river.
for a copy.
Because
They have to have it.
Right,
They
yeah,
have
like
to
I
have
say, that's our first step, you know.
river lakes and streams or something, yeah.
So we good with at least getting Ray? Corber
Yeah,
on
I'll
board?
ask Ray if he has a
Okay.
recommendation or if this is something, like you said, within his wheelhouse or not, and then we'll go from there. And can he or whoever he thinks is the best person to reach out to Chelsea, who was on that email, to get the engineer's contact information? Okay,
Yeah, let them deal directly with each other,
That's what-
not, you
Have a
call them, they
telephone,
call
yeah.
them, they, it is.
Okay.
Engineer to engineer is the quickest way. All right, and with that. Let's go to the town manager's report, and I see you have one. Legal, update, that letter from Jason, let's discuss that in non-public.
Okay, so we already went over BT Rail, and I have some directives on that. We'll talk about the one machines in non-public. Blue Mountain Spring structure, or sprung structure. So Brian Norton reached out to me and informed me that they had purchased these two sprung structures during the pandemic. That are no longer in use. They just have them in storage, and he didn't know if the town would be interested in potentially purchasing them to use as the covered structure at the Kink Rec area. So I said I would talk to Tara and to the board about it and let him know. So.
What did Tara have to say?
She said that she thinks that they had talked about purchasing them in the past previously. And that at the time Loon wasn't willing to budge on the amount of money that they were looking for to purchase them,
And they
so.
weren't even willing to sell them. Remember that a couple of years ago, Tim? We had that conversation.
Yeah,
And because I went directly to Jay at the time, it was before Brian. And they weren't interested in selling them at that point in time. They were just gonna keep for the future. Now, obviously, there's taking up space and they want to get rid of them.
did they give you a price?
He didn't give me a price, so I told him that I
Because
would.
they're not cheap.
No, they're not cheap. I looked, if you go on their website, they're a pretty elaborate,
Oh, yes.
so, but he does know what he knows what we're raising and appropriating for the warrant article for the covered structure, so.
It's a little different, just to put it out there, not that I'm opposed, I mean, it's, you can open the ends up. Although theirs are fully enclosed, but you can still open the ends up and have
Right.
open air.
Yeah, he also said that you could put the two together and create a
Winter.
30 by 90.
Sorry.
30 by 90.
Yeah,
30 by
I
90.
was just thinking, we've had two tents down there in the past that have just, and I don't know if it's the way the slope is or whatever, but I mean, it twisted.
Right.
Those tents. And
These-
This is what that is, the metal in these are the same gauge as what was in those metal tents.
Well, that was my first question. So I did go on the website and I did go, they have a specific page on their
Yeah.
website for ski area and ski area structures. And they say they can withstand 125-mile-an-hour winds.
So that would do it.
Yeah. So, because that was my first question. I
Yeah.
played around on the website a little bit to see if it was even feasible.
Because they have like a 50-year life expectancy or something.
Yeah, I mean, they're using them as permanent structures
Right.
at some of these ski areas out
Right.
west. Like, this is their solution to not having to build
Right.
with, the wood, essentially.
Yeah,
Is this the one that's where the current Kank 8 lift is? You know, is this
that big white
next
one,
right next to the
no.
governor's lodge?
No, they're both in storage right now.
No, but was it there? Or was a structure there?
No, it was one of them was down at the South Peak area. And one was up at Camp Trio.
Oh, okay.
Yep, they had one.
Was it just for COVID?
It was for cold.
Yeah,
So they're only used for 2 winters?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay, because I was thinking the one next to the governor's lodge has been there for
ever.
a long time.
Yeah. No, he said both of these are in storage.
Okay,
There is none next to the government.
there was.
There was, oh yeah.
That's what I'm
the
saying.
tent.
Is it the one they took down
Yeah,
after
no,
20
no,
years?
that was just a tent. This was a sprung.
Okay,
I think it's something to entertain. I mean, we don't know if we have the money, we'll have to wait until town meeting and see what happens, but I think it's something to at least investigate on, because even if we only use it at the Kank for 3 years and then we build an addition or we build a deck or whatever
Well,
we
I'm
do,
not opposed to this
We-
at all.
oh, yeah.
Instead of.
we could then potentially pick it up and move it to the highway department or pick it
As
up and
long
move
as
it to the solid waste facility
As long as
or.
It satisfies the need, which, I mean, is it, we can run electric through it, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And we can hang fans from the ceiling, I'm
Oh, yeah.
assuming.
Yes.
So, I mean, which is kind of the big thing, is keeping the kids cool
And
and
cover.
out of the sun and out of the rain in the summer is the
Right.
biggest use. The other thing was a possibility of making at some point a skating rink, although it wouldn't have worked this winter at all because it didn't get cold enough, but is that a possibility? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Mm.
Like I said, I just think that it's worthwhile to keep on our, minds.
And this picture shows them green, but what color are they? Were they white? Do you-
I don't, yeah, I think the green is just the shading on the picture, yeah.
I think it looks like a silvery color.
Yeah, I think they're gray. I
Right.
think they're grayish. Yeah, I think that's just the copy machine kind of
Gotcha.
darkening the things. I believe they're gray.
So it looked like a bomb shelter.
I mean,
But Brian also did say that, so he said that, I'm trying to find his email because he gave me a little bit more information. So he said, they have two, one's 30 by 30, one's 30 by 45. They can be set up in a manner that they're separated or combined into one 30 by 75, not 90, 30 by 75. He said,
Don't forget it then.
however, the 30 by 75 configuration would leave one truss unused. He said you could buy a new fabric roof section and some cables for pretty cheap to end up with a total 30 by 90. So
Yeah,
I think it's potential that we could buy a new,
do they have the anchoring system for it?
oh, I'm sure they
Yeah,
have
they do.
everything for it, yeah.
Gotcha.
They show the.
Right.
On page.
I talked to Nate about it a little bit too, to see, his
Gotcha.
opinion, and he said, we will need to most likely, he doesn't know if his equipment will be able to reach the top of the trusses to put everything together, so we might need to get someone in to help us, get the,
I know.
but he says that
I
they,
know where to borrow one.
yeah,
So. Also, can you run this by, Primex to see if it's insurable?
sure, yeah, because that would be it, I mean, we
Yeah.
can't do it if it's
If
not
it's not
sure.
insurable,
Right.
yeah.
No, that's a great.
Yeah, no, that's, we'll see what happens tomorrow.
I mean, to build that 30 by 30 pavilion, gazebo, whatever you wanna, wood
Yeah.
structure is gonna be expensive.
Yes,
If this can be done, I think it would be certainly suitable. May be able to.
it would fill the need, even, like you said, even if it's for the next 10 years, whatever, it would fill the need.
Right.
Yeah.
And, it could potentially be used, if it's not being used at the Kank Rec area anymore, could we move it to the Public Works facility? Could we move it to the transfer station? Could we move it for an additional use in the future?
Now, let me ask if,
So that's,
Mhm.
provided they are insurable. And we build a wood structure at the Kank anyway. Is it something the town wants for anywhere else? Did you run it by Nate? Is it something he might be interested in?
I didn't run it by him as in as in, do you want this for yourself? I
Right.
ran it by, do you remember when Loon had those up? Like, what's the construction
But
like?
if there's a
Can you put
need
one up?
elsewhere also.
Potentially, I mean, if Loon's willing to work with the town on a price, right, it may be worthwhile somewhere else.
I can't imagine though that it's not insurable because. Loon would not house, thousands of people in the course of a winter time there for dinners and
Sure.
meals, and drinks and stuff, if it wasn't insured.
Right, but Loon's private insurances are probably different than Primex. I mean, Primex won't even insure a
And
blow up.
here.
Primex won't insure a blow up bouncy house.
Right.
Primex won't insure a trampoline.
Right.
So Primex is a little bit different than.
Well, there's
Right, it's
Trampoline's
the phone call.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
agree with you.
Yeah.
I think, look,
Well, and it's not
Well,
just
it's
your
true.
standard event tent. This is a
Right.
structure that is supposed to be more of a permanent structure than a temporary structure. Right. I think it's worth looking into.
Absolutely.
absolutely.
If you could find out if they're insurable and follow up with some sort of a price.
Sure.
Because if they come back and say, we want $1 million a piece.
Yeah, but no, yeah. not
If they
that.
come back with a reasonable price, it might be worth it to explore that.
Okay. I will do a little bit more research into that.
Thank you for that.
Okay, just a quick short-term rental update. We currently have 300, I changed my, my numbers today because we had some updated over the weekend. We have 331 registered short-term rentals right now. On January 17th, when I last gave you the update, we had 109. So we've tripled our numbers, which is nice. We have approximately 36 non-compliant properties that have received letters in the last 30 days. And we have approximately 30 properties that have been identified, but haven't had a documented stay in the last 121 days to 365. So we're just kind of watching those to see if they have a documented
Gotcha.
stay, and then we will send out those letters as well. But we are moving in the right direction as far as compliance with that. So
Cool.
we're getting a better handle on the website, on the letters going out. So I think it's moving in the right direction.
Good.
Is Carol involved in that process?
A little bit. She sits in on some of the meetings we have with Granicus, but it's mostly Lisa and I that are kind of managing the website and whatnot.
I was surprised at the comments in the planning.
Right up.
Right up in the town report. Related to STRs.
Okay.
And this is in bold,
Mhm.
the only thing in bold in the whole report other than headline.
Okay.
In 2023, 716 short-term rentals were identified by Granicus as listed on the short-term rental digital platforms. But only 245 of those were registered. 471 short-term rentals listed on short-term rental digital platforms were not registered, not being in italics.
Yeah, that's not accurate.
No, we had over 400 registered.
And we do have 700 and something identified. That's an accurate number, but
Right.
you have to factor in there's
timeshare.
Hotel.
The timeshares, the
Hotels.
hotels, right, we have now filtered all those out.
I get that.
Yeah.
That our
But it sounds like
definition,
hotel, right?
It sounds like we got short.
built into our short-term rental ordinance is different than what Granicus picks up on their computerized searches.
Correct,
And that's just not,
it's misleading, it's not
misleading.
accurate.
it sounds to me like the town is ignoring 471 short-term rental units and allowing them to not register, and we're not doing a thing about it.
Right, that's not,
That's what this says to me.
No, we had over 400 registered last year.
we did,
Right, and now this 330,
we have 331 as of today. And like I said, we have 36 ones with letters and then another 30 that have been identified, so there's another 60 that brings us to the 400.
right, and yeah, those 30 that haven't had a documented stay.
Mhm.
I get the feeling that there's people pulling out of that market, either full-time or are doing seasonal rental for one season or the other. Depending what season the owners use it.
Well, I think it was incredibly huge and inflated during COVID. There's no question.
Right.
The
Oh,
demand-
yes, absolutely, yeah.
Demand was huge.
And the inventory,
Mhm.
there were more, way more, because people weren't leaving home. They were short-term renting it.
Mhm.
Instead of coming up here to ski for the winter, they were trying to offset their loss.
Right.
Well. I don't know if it's worth correcting that in public. I don't know how many people read the whole report, but.
I think you just corrected it.
I,
Okay.
well, I mean, it might be worth mentioning at the end of the meeting tomorrow night as well.
I guess just. If anyone asks you why we're not doing anything about these
Right.
471, you know,
Because OJ told us not to.
Right.
you always have the perfect thing to say. All right,
All right, moving on. So, last week, just kind of some housekeeping stuff for you all, just so you keep you, aware of what we're doing internally. Last week, the department heads received training from Christian and MRI on our new, budgeting software, which allows all of our department heads now to have access to their expenditures and their revenues in real time. So, Christian came up last Friday and at our department head meeting, gave everyone a tutorial. So now everyone will have access to their budget in real
Cool.
time, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It saves a lot of the small questions that come to Becky that she has to stop and go into the system and check things. They can now kind of do that on their own,
Perfect.
which is great.
and they were read-only.
They're read-only, yep, they only have read-only access. They only can do is create reports and they can't really screw it up, so. Yes.
Just had to ask, because it's,
Yeah.
it's in that. Hopefully.
Oh, yes, it's read-only access only, so. And we were thinking that as time goes on, well, like, it was a great actually informational session because originally we just gave them access to the expenditures. But after we all talked it through, they would now they want the revenues and they also want capital reserve accounts that they are kind of in charge of, so they can have a running balance of the capital reserve. So I think overall it's going to be great. It's just a tool for them to, be better prepared, so. Next up, Chenard Court Conference. The court date regarding the Chenard order to pay is scheduled for 10 a.m. on Thursday, May 9th. So I have it on my calendar. I plan to be in attendance. Obviously you all are welcome as well.
When is that again?
May 9th, Thursday, May 9th at 9 a.m. I mean at 10 a.m., excuse me. At Plymouth District Court. Let me say that too.
Thursday, May 9th, 10 a.m.
Yes.
So there's no PD building meeting that day. You'll have to reschedule that one.
I will.
What was supposed to be that day?
Our weekly
Police
progress
department
meeting.
Progress meeting,
Oh,
That day.
which I have recurring on my calendar and yet to attend.
is that every week?
We're doing bi-weekly,
When is the next one?
Thursday,
At what time?
10 a.m.
10 a.m.?
I put it on every week.
It started every week, but now that they're kind of full speed ahead over
Can you
there,
do that online?
it's all Zoom. Yes.
Oh, it is.
Oh,
I
yeah, they all meet Zoom.
I might, could you send me the link for that one?
Yes.
I'm gonna try to log in on that. Thank you.
Can you send that to all three of
Sure.
us?
Send
If we all log in though, is it a meeting?
Yes.
So let's take turns. ladies, I'm just kidding, you could go, you could do this one, OJ, if you want,
Can we just post it?
notice it as a meeting.
Nope, no public participation.
Right,
Yeah, technically, if it's a meeting, you're supposed to have,
Two people that are
Present.
quorum present. But we're just getting an update.
if we're just getting an update, no, we don't ask any questions.
yes,
If we don't participate in it, is it then a meeting? Because we're not contemporaneously exchanging information.
I would say it is because you're meeting for a specific purpose,
yeah, you're meeting you're meeting
as a.
as a selectman,
Gotcha.
you're not meeting as a member of. the
Okay, you
public.
go first, I'll do the next one,
All right, I'll do this Thursday.
and then Jack can have the next one.
I'll take a look at my schedule.
While we're on the topic of the PD, I do have some good news. I got a call from Congresswoman Annie Custis herself on Friday afternoon, and the funding bills that were just passed on Friday
Yeah.
evening by the president included our $1 million for the PD.
Yeah.
So, that is great. With that said,
Stop.
well, I want to lay it out there. With that said, because the federal government took 5 additional months to pass the budget and we had to start this process, we couldn't hold up our building for it. There may be some accommodations that we need to make, because it's part of the rural development, program, the USDA program, rural development. Usually those community facility grants have certain stipulations attached to them, like environmental, studies, you got it, all that kind of stuff. So I put in a call today. I'm hoping to get a call back tomorrow to figure out how we can approach, because we haven't filled out the formal grant application yet. How do we approach? Maybe we can do it for equipment purchase, for, trying to be creative in a way to get that $1 million, but also not have to make us jump through a million hoops, or also stop progress on the building to complete these, to do something like that. So it's gonna be, we gotta be creative, and I gotta talk to them to understand what really our criteria is gonna be and what we're gonna be required to do so for this grant. But I think it is a good sign that at least we know that $1 million was included in the funding that was just passed.
Gotcha.
So more to come on that. But I have some ideas that could maybe be for helping us with equipment purchases, like the security package, the EOC center, the podiums, certain things like that to
Yeah,
equate
yeah.
to the $1 million to kind of outfit the building rather than construct the building potentially. So
Gotcha.
we'll see where it goes, but more to come.
What about antennas, things like that?
Yeah, like the tower, the communications tower, technically we have a capital reserve for that, but could we, is there a way to accomplish everything without making us have to stop all progress on the PD, which we don't want
No.
to do? But knowing that our transformer is also extremely delayed, we may have a lag time before we can occupy the building from time the building's completed. So is there potential to do some of that then? I don't know. Like I said, I need more information from Annie Custer's office to really understand kind of how we're gonna move forward. Okay. But good news, I think, overall. And that is all I have on my TM report.
That's the text I just got, remove the voting machines. It's so.
Interesting.
I'll
I
be
don't know if you know that
shortly.
everybody in town got a postcard.
I didn't get one, thank goodness.
It was a box holder thing. Did you get
Oh,
one?
I probably didn't even look at it, just threw it away.
Well, it was a postcard that said, I don't know, your children's future is at stake or something
Oh
like
my
that. And
God.
it talks about voting machines and getting rid of them.
I don't believe I saw.
Oh,
Yeah, I did get that.
okay,
I had something that we added voting machines in.
okay,
I
because
got-
I mean,
yeah.
mine that I received was just addressed to current resident.
I had a stack of mail when I got home this big,
Okay.
so all of the junk just went, I didn't even.
It
look.
was definitely junk. As soon as you saw it, it looked like you knew it was junk, but
Mhm.
anyway.
No, I didn't even look at it.
Interesting.
Yeah, now I'm getting text messages. I
Um,
want everybody that signed the petition to put that on the warrant article, to volunteer to stay here till 1 or 2 in the morning to hand count votes, please, and thank you, for 4 elections this year. And never mind, we won't even go there. All right,
I think it's important to let people know that, as we talked earlier, we count the ballots, we just don't tally.
we don't,
Machine tallies. But, you know, every ballot touches the hand, gets counted to make sure,
Yes.
like I said, 100 people vote. 100 ballots enter the machine and 100 paper ballots, those 3 numbers gotta match.
right,
All
I
right,
agree, and I think it's important to point out that that machine that tallies the votes has 0 internet or Wi-Fi connection, none, nothing. Right. At
That's a
all,
standalone.
correct. It's like my calculator, not my cell phone.
good
Seriously,
analogy.
you're welcome.
All right, town meetings tomorrow.
Sure is.
I know.
What time do we have to be there?
Voting
Vote
starts
at
at 10.
10 o'clock and vote it.
Sweet. Because there's no school tomorrow, I have kids in the morning, I'm gonna sleep late, but I'll be wide awake at 4:30.
Yeah, because of daylight savings.
So 10 AM.
Yeah, I'll show up at like 9:30, just because Randy has to.
Yeah.
Set up sometime between 9:30 and 10.
Yeah, I plan to kind of bebop in and out. I told Carol I'd help her bring stuff over in the morning and hang out for a little while and then I'll kind of
Right.
be back and forth.
And, you know, I'll help
Yeah,
her set up
if you need a
stuff.
hand, I guess, whatever.
Yeah, the highway guys brought most of it over today,
Okay.
but she just has like a big poster board that she didn't want to throw in the back of the truck with snow in it and stuff.
So you
So,
can put it in the back of my Tahoe tonight.
oh, let's do that.
'Cause it's
Because it
big
might
and
be
it'll fit.
easier to fit in yours. and mine.
Yeah, I'll do
okay.
that when I leave tonight and have it, yeah. It's the one covering up my dad joke.
One of the things I'd like to do, not necessarily at the first meeting, but at the meeting after the town meeting, is just to look at our goals.
Yeah.
Because I have a few things that I want to add to that.
I think
And-
we already have it on the agenda for the meeting after town meeting, so the 26th.
Oh, we do?
Yes, I
Okay.
think Jane was trying to preemptively, because she's out on vacation to
Oh,
get
right,
that stuff
yeah.
in a row.
Okay.
so.
I have a couple of things I want to add to that, and then a couple of things I just wanted to follow up on to see if we still needed to. One is we talked about putting a new sign down at the bank post office exit that right now is faded
Yeah.
and I forget what exactly
Nate
it
was gonna
says.
order something.
Nate was gonna order
Next-
something, yes,
Entrance only is what it
Yes.
says.
yes,
Do not enter, entrance only.
No, it just says entrance
Entrance
only,
right,
which is kind of confusing. It's like, okay, what am I entering? Highway, or
Right.
bank?
yes.
If I don't know what we are proposing it for it to say, but we need something that's,
Yes, and I talked to Mr. Bartlett.
Yep.
And he said that was fine,
Okay.
and so
One
we
way
just
to
have to,
not
we just
enter
have
or
to
something.
get it on order, so.
okay,
One side could say entrance only, the other side no exit, period. I mean, because you got people trying to come out onto the.
that's the
highway.
problem.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
It's not going in. And if we put on the same side, entrance only, and then the other side.
No
backside,
exit,
then-
right,
No
do not enter,
no exit is to me, or
yeah, no exit,
no exit.
okay,
Don't go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay,
I wanted to follow up on that, and then the other thing is the community electric program. Where do we stand with that? Because don't we get to choose, or don't we have a committee that chooses the default supplier and?
Well, the last I remember is that we had to amend our regulations or our,
Right.
I don't know
We-
what the
we-
status of
We
that is.
amend what we had already agreed to.
Correct.
Because the law, the enabling law changed.
Changed,
Had to change
right.
some wordage.
Right.
I remember doing that.
Right,
And then I thought, like, they would be presenting the town with some options for power suppliers.
I thought we did see,
we did renegotiate our power supply last fall,
For the default. Right?
yes,
Not, I'm not talking about what we use in the town. But for the default
Supplier.
that all of us can choose to be in. with or
Oh,
not.
okay, I don't know what the status of that is, I'm individually, the town ourselves, we renegotiated or we write a new contract with our supplier,
Right,
right,
I remember that part.
yes,
Just that community piece
yeah,
is that, you know, what we're allowing to do is that if you have an electric service, you
Mhm.
no longer, right now you could choose anyone you want, but the default is NHEC.
right, the co-op.
And this allows the default us to name, the default is a different entity, but I think if you have community input to that, or even a committee, but that needs,
Let me reach out, I think his name is Bart. Let me reach out and see what the status is of that, what we need to do, what are
Okay.
our next steps.
all right.
All right.
Just because I wanted to put that on the next year's agenda to get
Okay.
that finalized and kind of off of our agenda. You know,
Yep,
be done with it.
well, a lot of towns are voting on that tomorrow.
Right, we don't have to.
We don't have to know, we already did it, but it seems as if it's catching a little bit more momentum.
And I'm wondering if they're
throughout
waiting for other towns to get on board.
Right, so it's a bigger pool,
Bigger pool.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
That would
because I think Lincoln was one of the early ones
Yeah,
to
it was,
adopt it,
yeah.
right? Yeah, so,
Right,
I do know that it is on the docket for a lot of towns tomorrow.
cool. All right. That was all I had. Anything else,
I didn't have it.
Tammy?
Couple of things,
Go ahead.
school district meeting is a week from tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to put that out there. And I watched the meeting that I missed, 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago? Time flies. I was riding roller coasters with my grandkids. And the landing with the parking,
Yes.
New Hampshire state law automatically says, and it's 262:40A, New Hampshire RSA. The owner or person in lawful possession of any private property or the manager of a state-owned park and ride facility on which a vehicle is parked without permission or is apparently abandoned. So that's any private property parked without permission can A, cause the removal of the vehicle in a reasonable manner, provided he or she gives notice of such removal to a peace officer as soon as reasonably possible. So the owner or owners or residents of the landing can call any tow truck anywhere and say, remove this car. It's illegally parked, as long as it's signed that says no parking, or whatever. And then just call the PD and say, hey, I just had towing company move that 1902 Model A to their facility.
I think we know that. I don't think they want the cars towed. I think they want them ticketed.
Gotcha.
Who pays the tow truck driver when they're driving away with that vehicle?
The owner of the vehicle, unless it's not signed. And you don't notify the police department. If you park your car in my front yard. And there's no sign that says no parking. I can't have your car towed.
Okay, but if I park
Without,
down
the
at
police can have it towed,
but if I park down at the landing,
where it says no parking.
there's no parking, and I don't park in one of those 4 spots, I park
Right,
somewhere else.
And somebody that lives at the landing calls a tow truck
Yeah,
and the police department to notify them it has been towed,
yeah.
you pay the bill. The
So
owner of the
tow
vehicle,
truck will take that car away with no payment,
correct,
and will keep the car until they get paid.
correct.
And they
Charge storage fees per day.
Per
and
day, yeah,
they verify that the police have been notified, probably before they even tow.
correct. Correct, that is correct. As long as it's signed, Loon does it,
Signed by whom?
has a sign that says no. parking. And
Oh,
there
oh,
there's
oh, oh.
signage.
Yeah, it has to
Has
know-
sign,
you
but
have to have the name of the
Okay.
tow company.
Phone number, yeah.
nothing. It doesn't have to have the name of the towing company. A lot of places do that as a courtesy. All it has to say is towed at the owner's expense, period.
It doesn't have to have the phone number on it?
I thought that was required,
I did too, but
but you would know better than us. I mean, because
A lot of them do it.
if I want to
as a-
tow it to Florida,
Maybe you could call a towing company out of Plymouth or Littleton and have it towed, doesn't matter. You don't have to call a local towing company. You can call till nobody had a conference, whatever.
I was,
Yeah.
I was out of town over.
The guy that used to own the diner did that, just saying, because he wouldn't call John in.
I was in Plymouth, parking somewhere where it was questionable.
Figured out Virginia Beach one.
And there was a sign and it said, cars will be towed to North Woodstock, New Hampshire, and gave a phone number that looked familiar.
Hilarious. Awesome.
And it's like, okay, let's not park there, because.
They're gonna give us a free, they're gonna give us an expensive ride home.
Like,
I see it, and it's funny, because I park wherever I feel like parking, and I get a phone call. But it was at Loon one time, and I was interrupted and said, Mrs. Sam, can you move your car? And the tow truck guy refuses to tow it. I'm like, good thing, good thing.
all right, anything else you want to bring?
Nope, those are the two things.
Okay. Then, public participation. Nothing, all right, go ahead, Paul.
Hello.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a couple questions for you, OJ. The last planning board meeting, you said that you were aware of new information pertaining to Campers World, the purchase, but you could not discuss it because you had not discussed it with the other board members. Have you discussed that, and are you able to discuss it tonight and say what it is?
I disseminated that information by email to the board. And I'm anticipating we're going to non-public under 91A, whatever the number is that relates to, anticipated real estate transaction that involved the town being a buyer or seller, to discuss the details of it.
Well, I guess I kind of take a little exception to that. I mean, it's the taxpayers who are gonna foot the bill for that, and I would think that you would want to, in the interest of transparency, say what it is. I mean, it's kind of a short window here. Tomorrow's the town meeting, I mean, unless you're gonna just announce it at town meeting and ask people to vote on it, it could or could not make the difference in the vote, but I guess if that's the way you're gonna do it, then so be it. Is that what you're telling me, that you're not gonna say anything until tomorrow night?
We definitely want to discuss it tomorrow night. It's just,
Well, I don't think the board has, as a whole, has had a discussion.
we haven't had a discussion, and for me to tell you what
Right,
the board,
and it
the
could
board should
potentially
be,
affect the
right, we're not in a
reputation
position.
of someone else, so I don't think we should do that in a public meeting at this time.
Why?
Yeah.
Look, it's public money. It's that you're asking to spend for a public purpose. I don't know why you can't discuss it in public so that people can understand what it is. I mean, and if you take a look at it, so tomorrow night at town meeting, you're gonna have just the people that are there. Tonight, you may have, I mean, there's only me and I think one other person online, but
There's two people here tonight.
yeah, I mean, the two people in the audience, but I mean, other people may watch between now and then. I mean, I just think that it seems to me that it seems kind of secretive, I guess.
Well,
And I don't understand the reason why you don't want to just say what it is.
I'm thinking you're gonna be at the town meeting tomorrow night?
I'll be there, OJ.
Okay, so you will be privy to everything that we can tell you about this before you vote.
Be nice to have a little more, but I guess if that's what you're gonna offer, that's all I'm gonna get.
Okay, and did you have a second question?
Yes, I do. So Loon's covered structures, I don't know how old are they, the ones they want to sell you?
They bought them in 2020.
2020?
And they used them for 2 years, and I assume they took them down right after that, or? So they were up and used for 2 years.
All right. I purchased the first covered structure Loon ever had when we did the concert series. They do deteriorate with time. And they are very wind capable. They're mounted to the ground with the ground pads. But they deteriorate with time. I mean, they take a lot of care. Unless it's a really good deal, I, as a taxpayer, certainly would encourage you to pursue the building structure that you're looking at currently. I've seen them, I put them up. Nate can put them up with just a loader. They're really easy to put up and take down. But truly, if you're looking for a certain covered space and you want to use it for a certain thing, then I would encourage you to look where you're looking, because that covered structure you have right now, I mean, it's 100 and some odd thousand, right? For that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if Loon was gonna offer it to you for 25,000, then that might be a deal, but you're not gonna get what you're gonna get from building it the way you want. So just be careful of that, okay? The
Well,
railroad,
Paul, if I might add something there, the structures that you put up before are not these structures here. You put up, I believe, the Tenta, T-E-N-T-A, that comes out of Montreal. There were two of them, that were put up. I looked at them, wait a minute, Paul, excuse me. I looked at them and I dealt with the company directly, had a meeting with the manufacturer's rep, because we were contemplating putting one up for the adaptive program in lieu of a hard shell building that would fit our needs, and Lou had agreed to possibly do it. When we looked at it, like you said, those deteriorate after years, they require a lot of maintenance. We did not opt for that one. We've got the plans here. Maybe if you swing by, Karina could make you a copy of them so you could take a look at it. It is different. It is different, Paul.
yeah, I mean, I like to take a look at it, but I mean, maybe it's a second version of it, maybe it's a better version, but I can tell you that the original one that we purchased for the concert series and that we did in front of the Governor's Lodge, and then we moved it in front of the Octagon Lodge, they take a lot of care and maintenance. So it just, that was my concern when you were talking about purchasing the structure. That's all. The logging down at the solid waste facility, I guess my comment would be, shouldn't the planning board be involved in that? And also, wouldn't DOT be involved as far as getting out onto the highway and how that all works?
DOT is involved and they have permission from DOT.
There you go. Sounds like a plan. The article number 4, OJ, were you able to create some sort of a handout for tomorrow? Or I know Jimmy did, but I'm just asking whether or not you were creating that. I know Karina. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I have 150-ish flyer, like rack card size pieces that I'm bringing tomorrow, and will be happy to give to anyone who wants to hand those out outside. They have to be done outside the building.
Yeah.
So those are available. Carol printed up, or you printed up, Carol?
Yeah, Jim did a little letter. I printed out 200 of those that can be passed out. Just a little half sheets, explaining the planning board's essentially vote on the 28th that changed their stance on it. And then I just drafted also just a corrective warrant that we'll put out. A corrective warrant that just says.
And
Yeah,
that
what's that?
will
What's
be,
a correct warrant?
It just says it's like a little flyer, it's a piece of paper that says warrant article correction, and all it does is said, rather than it saying recommended by the planning board, it says not recommended by the planning board.
So will Carol be there tomorrow if anyone has any questions
Yes,
to suggest to people?
and that corrective warrant that she printed out, that's not asking people to vote for or against
it's
something.
essentially just a notice of correction.
No,
That's fine.
So
That's
that's the one that can be posted inside the building.
Right.
And we will do that, like where the warrant hangs on the front door, the corrected notice will be next to it. And then when you go inside, that will also be hanging where Carol's information is.
That's fine. I did, like I said, I just think it's, I think it's important that we get out in front of this thing, and I think it will cost the town a lot of taxpayer dollars if we don't, so.
Yeah, no, we.
And Tammy, the landing towing, the reason that we wanted to have the police department give tickets was for two reasons. One, the town generates revenue from it. The other one is it's a lot easier to come in and talk about a ticket versus someone having to go find their car once it gets towed away. We did all the appropriate signage. As a matter of fact, your husband is the one that we used to have it towed to, and we had the police department's number on it. We had all the appropriate signage. It was just, we didn't want to really tow people's cars, so when they come off from cross-country skiing or whatever it was, then they gotta
Gotcha.
go look for the car. So that's
That makes
truly
sense.
why, I mean, trying to be a little more user-friendly. You
Yeah,
know,
that makes sense.
and that's why we did that. And that is all I have. Thank you very much. See you
All right.
tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Hey, Paul. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Thank you very much for bringing to our attention that we omitted a page, or the printer omitted a page from the town report. We did make extra copies of that page, and it was inserted in those, and it'll be available for handouts if anybody wants to look at them.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I was just, when I was looking at the wages, I said, where's the police department? Huh. But
Yeah.
A little for nothing, Paul, you know that.
There was actually two versions of the printers omitted. One was the police department wages and the other one was Carol Riley's
Award.
award.
I saw both of those.
So we made copies and slid them in all the town reports. Once.
You know, while you're on that topic, maybe could you put those on the town website and correct them on the town website? Because I was looking at it tonight, I didn't see any corrections on that. I thought maybe that would be
Oh,
a good
okay.
place to have it.
Attach it right to the,
yeah, I mean, I think we can actually just send them the file because it was in our file. They just somehow omitted those 2 pages.
Really?
Yeah, so. All right, town report.
I didn't realize there was a Carol Riley thing as well, but I mean, certainly, you know, that would be it'd be nice if it was on town website. That way there people could, anyone, lot of people go on that, look for information, so.
We can do that.
All right, good, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'll make a motion that we go into non-public to discuss proposed real estate transaction.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Wayne.
Good evening. Karina, does Samsung Galaxy want to identify themselves?
I don't know, do they?
They don't have to unless they speak.
Oh, I know they don't have to.
Not anymore.
Good night, Wayne.